I'll get phone calls saying, "Chaps, I just can't sleep at night because when I do, I keep seeing this person's eyes." Um, and so with that, um, that latent set in is what we see more often. And also, something you alluded to earlier, a person can have PTSD and moral injury both. And really, if they have both, both need to be addressed before either will get any better.
Right. So I always thought moral injury was part of the PTSD. But you're
A
saying,
lot of people assume that. I don't agree with that definition. I think moral injury is spiritual in nature. Uh, some folks will disagree with that. Actually, they just added moral injury to an addendum to the DSM-5 so that they could begin treating it from a mental health perspective. But a lot of mental health professionals will tell you is that when it comes to moral injury, they like to work, when they work with individuals, they like to work with them where they come at it from that mental health perspective. And then they also would like to see that individual being grounded by some type of spiritual perspective.
gotcha. All right. So how do you have groups with vets dealing with this?
I do. One thing, so when I went through clinical pastoral education, which is what you have to do to be able to work in a hospital for a chaplain, I was very blessed to work with the San Diego VA. And the San Diego VA has a program that is a PTSD domiciliary called the Aspire Center. And it is in Old Town San Diego. And what they do, first of all,
I think you're going somewhere in San Diego when you get out. I just don't know. I have this feeling.
well, what they do is they take homeless veterans off the streets. They help them get clean, help them stay clean, um, treat the entire person, address the PTSD, address the moral injury, and then they help them find jobs and help them find housing all in a 6-month span of time. And they have an 85% success rate, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Why the VA doesn't duplicate this across the country, I got no idea. But the staff at this place are so dedicated to the veterans that they just bend over backwards to minister to the needs to these veterans. And some are veterans themselves, some aren't. But the love and the care for these folks is undeniable. Undeniable. I was so impressed when I did my residency with them. But I saw how one thing I loved was that when they sat down and did a plan for one of the residents, the chaplain had an equal seat at the table. The chaplain wasn't an afterthought. The spiritual wasn't an afterthought. And if the chaplain had a seat at the table, the chaplain better have something to say. Now, not everybody was of the same spiritual perspective when they came in, but the chaplain can address something to deal with that person's own spirituality. And
I
so,
like how you say spirituality instead of religion.
correct, religion can be a part of spirituality.
I understand that, but it also can be separate.
That's that exactly that. It can also be separate. Um, and so what I did was I saw the programs that they did. So the VA has a program called Building Spiritual Strength that was written by a clinical psychiatrist and a Army Reserve chaplain who's a full-time VA chaplain. And what they did was they created an 8-week program that addressed PTSD and moral injury from a spiritual perspective. And not everybody in the group has to be of the same faith background because it's done on an individual level. And then they'll have.
And I got that by saying when you said spiritual.
Okay.
Like that's how I took it, was meaning that just in case people don't get it, I've been in many different things in my life and I've been through many different situations, and that's the first thing I took, from when you said that.